biggest and most problematic sources of waste. Today, over 1 billion tyres are produced annually in over 400 tyre factories. Tyre stockpiles create a great health and safety risk. Tyre fires can occur easily, burning for months, creating pollution in the air and the ground. We know all this. We are the ones driving the cars after all, and we are certainly part of this. But let's not remind ourselves of the problems. Instead, we can think about solutions. These tyres are just one example of how we don't really know what to do with the byproducts of today's society, let alone the fact that recycling doesn't even cross some of our minds. Let's try to look at these tyres not as a waste, but rather as a resource that we humans produce. The same way a bee produces honey, we humans produce these tyres. They are just waiting to be used, rather than waiting to be illegally burned. Therefore, we are really looking at a mine containing a new resource. So it is no longer a tyre dump. The following is a group of people that has found a very good use for these tyres, and this is just one of the many problems they have found a solution for. Earthship Biotecture was founded by Michael Reynolds in the early 1970s. At present, the Earthship Biotecture team travel the world building Earthships for people. Patricio Sorrentino heard about Earthships in 2008. He flew immediately to Taos to meet with Michael.
Michael and I decided that we first wanted a prototype that could show people what Earthships are really about, because that's something that I came across throughout this time, that is very hard for people to realize the real essence of an Earthship without being inside one and without seeing it and living it and actually experiencing the functionality of an Earthship. But then we also had to form a team, because the way it worked out for us is that we were going to stage half of the project and Mike was going to do the other half. We wanted to learn about the project and we wanted to learn the whole process so we could eventually start replicating Earthships around Baja and in Mexico.
He wants to do ecological development of some kind and looked on the web, found our site, came to see us and wanted to do it. We have our community there has a lot of demonstration buildings and people can come and really see what it is, and he liked it. He wants to get into this and do this the same way we do with our help, and he wants his 3 boys to grow up doing it. And so it's a good, the overall take on the whole project has got good motives, you know, all the way through, and that's how we kind of select what to do. If somebody wants a home or a house, they have to realize that this is a little bit more than a home or a house. These buildings do everything for themselves, and the way they do everything for themselves is not with poles and pipelines and centralized systems. It's a decentralized approach. Each building is a living, breathing cell that is getting everything that its inhabitants need from an encounter with the natural phenomena of the planet, like the sun, like the rain, like the gravity, like the wind.
At the end, Earthships are structures that are built using recycled materials, take advantage of natural phenomena, produced goods, and used technology, creating beneficial contributions to environmental issues like the following. 1. Energy consumption. Fossil fuels supply around 90% of the world's commercial energy. This has to stop soon. Earthships reduce energy needs to a minimum by not needing central heating and air conditioning. By generating their own clean energy, they contribute to minimize global warming. 2. Water consumption. The water you normally get from the grid is pumped from lakes, rivers, and underground water, often traveling long distances for human usage, consuming a lot of energy. With Earthships, you harvest your own water, so it's a safe net, plus you help our planet by reducing global warming and water scarcity. 3. Sewage. The sewage systems around the world are inefficient. Normally we don't separate grey from black water, and in most places there aren't any water treatment plants, so it goes directly to rivers, lakes and the sea. Earthships make very efficient use of the captured water by using it 4 times. First, you use it to wash, then to water your indoor garden, then to flush the toilet, then to water your landscaped garden. Your wastewater will never leave your property, meaning you do not pollute nearby rivers, lakes or the sea. 4. Food consumption. Global agriculture uses 60% of the total fresh water in the world. Food production today has to be technified to meet the large demand, resulting in burning fossil fuels, using chemical nutrients and pesticides, therefore emitting greenhouse gases, polluting soil, water and the product itself. Earthships produce food year-round, reducing expenses in family economy, health risks associated to pesticides and contaminants where food is grown, CO2 emissions by less fuel consumption, for example transportation for food imports, and water consumption for food production. 5. Wastes. Everything we consume is a potential waste, because nothing is useful forever. Some materials no longer used don't degrade, occupying space and contaminating in several ways. Earthships use materials like tyres, that otherwise would have little or no use at all.
You got lots of trucks coming, right? All right, so let's just dump this one here. Especially on the second one. You don't want to blow out. Never want to blow out.
This is tyre pounding. You start by placing cardboard inside the tyre, then you fill it up with dirt and you pound it until the tyre bulges.
We had to go and look for the tires. We had to go and look for the glass bottles. We had to go and look for the cans and then the cardboard from the fruit stores. Getting rid of so much stuff that was going to be burned or thrown away or end up in the rivers, in the sea, and seeing all those materials transformed and become an Earthship. I think that's one of the parts I really enjoy the most. We were grabbing the tires and everyone was like, oh, so what are you going to do with tires? And we were saying, we're going to build a house out of tires. And they were, nah, really, you're going to build a house out of tires? There's so many tires here, you can build so many houses. And I guess the reply was like, Yeah, that's what we want to do. So there is a lot of materials that people throw away, that we throw away. We think they don't have any value, but earthships take advantage of that situation and they transform it into something beautiful.
Can walls. Cans are used to build some of the walls. They help fill up the mass and reduce the amount of cement needed. They are easy to lay, easy to learn, and of course, by using them, we are recycling garbage.
Did you say what I think you said?
I did.
They're not even like correct. I mean, they're level to each other, but the ones underneath are not leveled correctly either.
Glass bricks. To make these, you need 2 bottles of the same kind. Then you cut them with a cutting disc, wash them, and once fully dry, you join them with duct tape to make sure they are well insulated from moisture. The Earthship's Mexico team prepared over 7,000 glass bricks before the Taos crew arrived.
And so you just have to come over and choose your size and then... Can you try ours? Todo empezó de algo como una semillita, como que plantaron la semilla en mi cabeza de algo y nos determinamos y lo estamos logrando, ya sabes. Y como que me siento súper afortunada de poder ser parte de esto, de que al final del día somos todos uno mismo. Me explico que no es como que nosotros, nuestra labor en la vida no es cuidar a la naturaleza, es simplemente entender que somos parte de ella, o sea, que somos un ser más dentro de la cadena alimenticia. Esto es más que un Earthship, o sea, un Earthship es un principio, es como una manera de vivir, ¿no? Y como que cambia un poquito el concepto de tu vida de que tú tienes que trabajar para vivir y no trabajar en tu vivir, o sea, sí te puedes sostener a ti mismo, puedes crear tu propio alimento, puedes crear tu propia agua, tu propia energía, etcétera. No necesitas el dinero para comprar todas esas cosas, ¿no?
Now, let's try to understand how these buildings do what they do. Earthships heat and cool themselves by harnessing the temperature of the weather, stabilizing the temperature inside the building. 3 of the 4 outer walls of the building are surrounded by packed tires, acting as thermal mass, which is basically mass holding heat, the same way a barrel holds water. Even more soil is added to surround the cisterns and the vent tubes, resulting in huge insulation. During winter, in let's say America, all the glass along the south side of the Earthship lets the sun in, which heats the mass of the very thick walls. The earth behind these walls, acting as an insulator, doesn't allow the captured heat to be released on the other side. When the temperature in the room drops below the temperature in the walls, heat is released from the walls into the space available for people to enjoy all through the night. During summer, with the sun high in the sky, sunlight enters only into the planters. The naturally cool temperature of the underground soil cools the building down. Also, driven ventilation from underground cooling tubes plus operable windows and skylights provides additional cooling thanks to natural convection. All this results in not needing money nor fossil fuels to address our current needs for comfort.
At that point in time, my boss opens up like a bunch of work for interns to pre-cut all the lengths for the rebar grids that go in the footing. Yeah. And then while they're doing that, they cut and bend the steel that comes from the bottom beam down. I ended up building airships. Actually, by chance, I met a girl in Arizona when I was hitchhiking around, and I came to this place in New Mexico to help her build a straw bale home. and did some of that. And then I spent my whole bank account. You know how it happens with girls. She's gone now. But then I actually ran into them by chance, just looking for a job, and went out to the community and checked it out, volunteered for a day, and got a job. It was crazy. I was working with all these rainbows. There was a midget on the crew, and I had to lift him up and down off of things. It was pretty wild. But so I've just, and then I bought some land. It was kind of a deal I couldn't refuse because it was so cheap at the time, and started building my own home. And so it just went like that, learning skills to use on my own house and having money coming in at the same time and living outside. So it just kind of evolved. Now it's just my life. That's what I do.
Oh, it was kind of an accident more than anything. I bought an Earthship, and I had no idea what I bought, and wanted to know how it was built. So I asked Mike Reynolds if I could volunteer. He said, sure, you can volunteer. And little did I know that he had many people volunteer to build the houses. So yeah, I worked for him for 6 months volunteering, and then he hired me last year full-time.
Pay attention. If you understand, you're seeing something, you're curious about it, just pay attention to it. You can ask about it. But you need bodies, and that's the importance of having the interviews. And then I think it's important that you guys understand this. Anything else? No? Okay, good.
Thanks, Mike.
Manana.
I've been cooking all night, At least you can tell me if you like it.
And then there's 3 downs instead of 4. Right. Well,
So, yeah, I was working on a farm with this guy, and he was building walls out of tires. And I was asking him his advice on how I'd build my house, because I was going to build it out of timber.